Good evening. Hello there. Sorry I missed the alarm. I had to pee. But I am here and ready to rev. Excited for stream tonight. We have some real good shit coming up. Boulders throws a fucking curveball, and Stelsa is wonderful. So, let's cross our fingers and hope that full screen mode works this time. Because I really hate using window mode for the streams. And we do not have visual. God fucking damn it. Okay, well. Let's get the window mode set up ready. Ta-da! Ta-da! Okay, well. That is unfortunate. Not a lot for preamble today, so we're just gonna jump right in. I would like to say that I would ask chat what they would like to start with, but it's a little bit quiet in there today, so I think I might pick for myself. Might as well jump on in then. Blah 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 friendship blah. Cutting it short and sweet and to the point today. Yeah, I'll have a sip of water if anybody watching would like to venture outside of their comfort zone and pop a little vote into chat as to whether you would like to start with Boldir or Stelsa. Otherwise, I will pick one at random and jump on in. Alright, it is still a quiet evening. So, I have a little piece of chocolate. I was going to eat this and then I realized what time it was. So, label up, Boldir, label down, Stelsa. Okay. Label up, we are starting with one Boldir Lamati. You just aren't feeling it today. You're getting more and more of these gray nights recently. Nights where the call of the streets, that infinite ramble for companionship, just sounds exhausting and meaningless. You had days like this back on Earth, too, when getting out of bed just didn't seem worth it. The sun is just beginning to slip under the horizon, and usually this would be the sign to rise and shine, or rise and dark. But all you've managed to do so far this evening is make yourself some coffee. You recently mentioned to Tagora that you drink instant, and he was so disgusted that he gave you a coffee machine. He claimed it was an old one he doesn't use anymore, but it still had the price tag on it. Aww. On the table sits the palm husk Connell has On the table sits a palm husk Connell had taken off a dead kid especially for you, and cradled in your hand is a mug Skyla sent. It looks like she painted it herself. There's a white blob on one side that you think is supposed to be Lady. You're even wearing the hoodie Malik gave you to cut the evening chill. Here you are, all wrapped up in the warm embraces of your friend's goodwill, safe and sound, but deep inside you festers something. A gnawing existential dissatisfaction. That classic angst the philosophers talk about. Your palm husk chimes and you pick it up lazily. What, another rando trying to slide into your DMs? Sorry, folks. You just don't have time for that anymore. You are a friendship connoisseur, a sommelier of the rarest of amicable vintages. You unlock the screen to find a message. Psst, I'm not certain that this line is secure. Actually, I'm positive that it isn't, but I am risking contact because it is imperative that we speak. I'm sending you rendezvous coordinates. If you wouldn't mind coming any time after the sun has set? Psst, I realize that this is unorthodox, but please believe me when I tell you that this is not a trick or a trap. I have important information regarding your place on Alternia. And there will later be a reveal that will explain why I am basically doing an ASMR voice. You attempt to reply to the message, but there isn't a cursor or anywhere to input text. In fact, there doesn't even appear to be an messenger app, that's a typo. There doesn't even appear to be a messenger app open on your phone. It's just a random text box floating in the void. You barely have a chance to read it all the way through before it vanishes and Google Maps opens with an address already programmed in. It's close enough to walk to, which is great, because using your stolen scuttle buggy still makes you a little nervous. You swallow the rest of your coffee and grab your shoes. Ta-da! The coffee shop that Elwer showed us. Your GPS leads you to a shop you recognize. It's the cafe from your weird sort of date with Lynura. It's not too crowded at this time of day. The usual studying crowd doesn't appear to be here. A couple trolls are sitting around sharing pots of tea. Surprise! Here's the cameo of the week. One Ardata Carmia. Fool! Fucking idiot. I explicitly stated I wanted Essence of Dayglow, not whatever this garbage is. Oh! You know this person. It really has been a minute, hasn't it? Ardata stands in front of the counter, shouting at the cash register. Whatever automated system runs this shop has apparently gotten her order wrong. What are you looking at, This is absolutely none of your... Oh. It's you. Ardata swiftly covers up her surprise, examining a sharp, perfectly shaped nail. You look... different. Better? Let's not exaggerate. I simply meant you looked less like toxic waste, and more like run-of-the-grain grinder garbage. You tell Ardata that it's good to see her too. Man, this really takes you back. You'd been so simple back then, so unevolved. You were laser focused on a single desire. Friendship. Now, well, you still like friends. You really do. But you also have, like, a car. And a sweatshirt with somebody's sign on it. You've moved up in the world. Hey, Sneak Cat, welcome. Just watching people go over an ARG. Alright, well, we're starting off today with Boldir Lamati. In case you couldn't guess by the lovely friend that we're talking to at the moment, stream health looks like shit, and I'm a little worried because of previous glitches that have happened, although I haven't had the same incidents happen before as what happened when I tried to stream on Saturday. I'm hoping that shit's still okay, but yeah, if it's truly fucking awful, please let me know and I'll try and do something about it, I guess, although I'm not really sure what I can really do. But welcome to the party. Get settled in. Here's a fucking wild ride. today. You didn't know? Yeah. That's really sweet. Yeah, staying away from spoilers. But yeah, that's this is a real fucking mishmash of settings here. We got the fucking cafe from Elward and Lynura, and one Ardata Carmia just chilling out. But yes, this is Boldir Lamadi's route. Fascinating. Oh, by the way, is she the one who summoned you here? Summoned? You? You must be joking. I haven't spared a single solitary thought for you since you dragged your wretched carcass out of my hive. Absently, you push your hand into the pockets of your hoodie. Something crinkles between your fingers, and you pull out a folded piece of notebook paper. Okay, this definitely hadn't been there when you left your hive. You passed a couple people in the street, but you definitely don't remember any of them getting close enough to slip something in your pocket. Huh. It only says 2 words. Outback. Oh man, should you go? Okay, so following regular formula, we'll get the short end out of the way first, and when we get to the second choice for the good end or bad end, it's all up to you, chat. Backyards are as bad as basements. No way. Okay, listen. You've done some pretty dumb stuff since you crash landed here. For instance, following the woman standing in front of you into her basement. But not this time. Nice try, Catfisher. Important correspondence? Nah. You crumple the page up in your hand. Nothing that can't wait. Good. Impeccable timing. Just what I was hoping you would say. Friend blocked. Yeah, I know, right? Backyards are as bad as basements. Oh, but this, though, this ain't good. And this is a markedly different style of end screen than usual. And I believe that this is because it is from a new artist, or at least an artist who has never done the art for the end screens before. And as usual, we will check on the credits after this is all done. But now, let's hop into the next portion of a dialogue. Yeah, I know. R.I.P. Poor MSPA reader. Wow, stream health looks real bad. Ooh, I am worried about that. Go, go, go! Let's be real here. If you were ever going to refuse a suspicious invitation, you would have done it by now. You would have drawn the line at vehicle theft or murder church or anime club. You can't resist a social engagement. Your tragic flaw. Okay, I guess. Enjoy yourself. You head back through a beaded curtain, half expecting an alarm to ring. How did they keep people from just robbing stores here? Are there, like, lasers and shit? You emerge into a tidy little backyard garden. None of the plants here are ones you recognize from Earth, but it's still nice. You cross a bridge over a slow-flowing stream and find yourself looking down at a path that blooms into a tight, dizzying spiral. Maybe you're supposed to walk across it and ponder your place in the universe. I just realized that the music has indeed kicked in. And this is the full version of a song that is, I believe, called Old Secrets, that James Roach originally made for the Hiveswap game. It's used in a lot of the game trailers, but the full version had never been released before, and he just felt like it was really fitting for Boldir. So that's what this is, and it's a really good song. I love this. Your contemplation would be inevitably cut off before it hit its climax, because someone is sitting at the center of the spiral. She is a small, compact shape with her hair cut short and choppy around her chin, wearing a shapeless white dress. Really more of a robe. Psst, I've been waiting here for you. Thanks for coming. She speaks in a stage whisper, low and full of air, but still loud enough to hear across the path. You pick your way carefully across the spiral, making sure not to mess any of it up, treading only inside the lines. The girl gives you a small, secretive smile. My name's Boldir. You ask her if this is her garden. Does she live here? It's nice, but it's not exactly out of the elements. Actually, it looks like there's some storm clouds rolling in. You're probably going to get rain soon. Oh yeah, my recupercan is over there under that tree. She smiles again, and you can't tell if she is messing around. In fact, she is entirely unreadable, like her face is a totally reflective surface and all you're seeing is the cloudy sky in the garden. You can't tell how she feels about you at all. Would you like to sit down? Inside the circle, or... She looks around like she is only just realizing she is at the center of a complicated geometric pattern. It doesn't matter. I only wanted to see if you would follow the path or trample through it. But you did neither. You forged your own way while taking care to preserve that which has come before. You ask her what that means. Maybe nothing. I'm not sure. She is adorable, but she's also just the air of mystery around her is just like there's so much going on here. And I've, read in discussions in terms of symbolism in relation to Homestuck and that those sorts of things that were signs that we're looking out for. Sorry if my voice is a little odd. I've got the laptop set up again. I've stopped relying on my phone because it keeps fucking around. The spiral is, of course, we're seeing this as strongly connected to the spiral symbolism with regards to the shrubs. Oh my god, are you etymology, biography, okay. I forget what type of hero she is. That's what I was trying to look up. I think I'm gonna let that lie for now. I think it's heart? Fuck. No, this is gonna bother me. I am so sorry, folks. I'm really glad, though, that I have the laptop open now, because I don't need to cut visuals and minimize and all that crap if I want to look at something. I've just been looking it up on my computer, which I need to plug in. It is now plugged in. Hooray. Where is that? Oh, okay. Yes, Prospect Heart. So the foil to Nepeta, she is Prospect Heart rather than Dirt Heart. And because of the way that she presents herself, the way that she speaks and moves, and some events that will come up later on, it's been a popular theory that I've seen is that she is the Muse of Heart. The Muse of Heart. And I'll go over a whole bunch of other theories as we keep going. There's a lot of theories around this one, and I'm so excited for y'all to see it. Casually choking on water. Oh no! Oh, I get that though. The wind tosses her hair and the clouds chase each other across the sky. If the rain comes, it will come soon. Boldir continues to look at you as you shift awkwardly and shiver, pushing your hands into your hoodie. This is different than any other friend meetup you've had, even with the others who purposefully sought you out. There is a serenity to Boldir that all the rest lack. Or maybe that's just the zen as fuck garden getting to you. You try to remember what Boldir said to you in the message that she somehow managed to make appear on your phone and then immediately self-immolate. That she has some information for you about your place on Alternia or some shit like that. Did I say that? I guess I did. I suppose I wanted a chance to talk to you a bit before the end. I was starting to feel a little, jealous maybe? Before the end. The fuck is that supposed to mean? You're getting a lot of Callie vibes? Yeah, like, just the calmness about her is really reminiscent of all of Callie. And just this, before the end, like, she drops, like, it's a thing to keep an eye out for, that she drops a lot of these really cryptic, like, hints like that. Like, she knows more than she's letting on kind of thing. Like, before the end? Before what end? We're getting close to the end of the Friend Sims. Like, does she know more than she's letting on? Like, what's going on here? Right. You guess everybody has been going on about their funny, dumb alien robot who's been prowling the countryside. No, that's not it. Though I'm sure you're very funny. I just wanted a chance to talk to you. Someone who is so adrift in the swall of fate and the whims of the paradox. Paradox? You don't know anything about paradoxes. Well, you know what they are. You just don't see why they're relevant. Is she... Sneak cat! You're immediately catching on to those fan theories. But yeah, the paradox. Like, paradox what? Like, paradox space? That's not something that would pop up on regular Alternia. That's a spurb term. They aren't. Paradoxes aren't relevant. So you just don't see why they're relevant. They aren't. Paradoxes aren't relevant by their very nature. Sorry, I got my headphones fucking yelling at me over there. It's the essence of that nature that makes them so integral to this story. So, I'm getting into paradox logic now. And how... So, to this story, what is she referring to there? Again, right? The story of MSP, a reader landing on Alternia? You shake your head. You're not built for this cosmic stuff. You're just an orphan from Earth with quick fingers for spaceships and apparently vehicles. Well, I mean, technically a spaceship is a vehicle. You are very curious. Oh yes, many are very, very curious. Secretly Callie. An interesting theory. Boldir gives you another sly smile. Oh? Quick fingers? You blush. You hadn't meant that as a dirty joke or anything. Also, your fingers are nowhere near as quick as hers. She somehow got a piece of paper in your pocket while you were standing in a cafe and she was back here. That's like reverse pickpocketing through astral projection. Boldir laughs. She stands up and moves across the garden path, following the spiral so swiftly and efficiently that she might as well be floating. She drifts over to one of the trees, pulling a coat down from where it's slung over a branch. Ta-da! Cutie! She's fucking adorable. Oh my god. But then there's so much... so much complicated shit. It covers her from chin to ankles, coming together to form an olive green symbol on her chest that looks like a question mark without the dot. A broad-brimmed hat finishes out the ensemble. Well, I can't teach you astral projection, but pickpocketing is actually quite simple. Would you care to learn? Ideally, we'd need a third person to act as the mark, but I think we can make it work. More crime, huh? Okay. First chat choice of the day. Sure, let's do crime, or no more crime, please. Pop your decision in that chat box. I will have a sip of water. I'm finding that watching the stream preview, which I don't get to do when I have the mobile app. I'm finding that its stream is a fair bit behind today. The stream health has been unstable this whole time, but it has not completely cut out, which I'm very happy about. Which is why there's so much of a break here between me saying, hey, well, let's ask, and then you're answering the question. Alright, let's not do crime? Okay. Let's take a break from that life of crime. Yeah, it's, we've been building up quite a nifty little rap sheet. Okay. No more crime, please. You've already got a hell of a rap sheet. Maybe it would be best not to add any new skills that could lead you into temptation. Fair enough. Would you care to go for a stroll? It's a nice night. It's a nice night. It's a windy, unsettled night, and it looks like rain. You suppose that's nice, depending on your definition. You'd absolutely love to take a stroll. That's your whole vibe recently. Strolling. You follow her out through a little back gate and into the street. Greetings, Aleph. Welcome, welcome. We just decided to not do crime with Boldir. So that is where we're headed. You leave the cafe behind and are quickly consumed by the drift of the midnight crowd. You brace for the inevitable pitying, hostile looks you get whenever you go out in public. You should have mentioned that you try to avoid large groups, but strangely, no one even glances at you. It's like Boldir exudes a sneaky aura that encompasses the both of you. As you walk, you ask her if she really believes in fate. Like, the two of you were always going to meet and nothing could have happened any differently no matter what you did. Boldir gives you a thoughtful, sidelong glance. Well, that would imply that none of our choices matter and that causality is inevitable. That randomness is irrelevant, right? Sure? You scamper to keep up with her, both physically and mentally. For someone who asked you to take a stroll, she sure is booking it down the street. But that disregards our choices. Fate dictates that all possibilities are, by their very nature, necessities. Or rather, the choice you make was the only one you ever could make. I doubt the universe is that simple. Doesn't sound simple to you, but you hum and nod sagely because you want Boldir to think you're deep. Begin to crimes. Instead of asking yourself whether you were meant to meet me and meant to be here, it makes more sense to wonder what the forces are that have conspired to bring it into being. Well, that would be exhaustion and ineptitude. You don't exactly remember what happened, but you're sure it involved something stupid like falling asleep at the wheel and drifting off into another solar system. More lore. It had been a rough 48 hours, you know? A lot of escaping and running and punching and stealing of high-powered vehicles. Yes, of course. I understand. All in a day's work. She stops you at most intersections. She stops you at most intersections so she can take surreptitious glances around the corner before gesturing you forward. Every so often, she will turn the two of you around to double back. You aren't exactly sure why. Maybe she thinks you're being followed, but who would follow you from a cafe? All sorts. But don't worry. I know how to shake off a tail. You cross one of the main thoroughfares and a big black bird swoops at your heads. You yelp at the duck, but you yelp at the duck. Yelp and a duck. There is not a duck there. They are not being attacked by a duck. You cross one of the main thoroughfares and a big black bird swoops at your head. You yelp and duck, but when you turn around, you see that the bird has landed on Boldir's arm and she is stroking its back. You brace yourself for it to start talking or some shit like that, because that's what your life is like now, but it just sticks its leg out for Boldir to remove a scrap of paper. It waits patiently for her to read the message and then scribble something on the back before attaching it to the crow and throwing it back into the air. Man, that's some Harry Potter-ass shit. One of my informants wants to rendezvous in meat space. Unusual, but it has been an unusual day. That's a fucking typo. Y'all, that just, like, really takes away from the mystery of it all when they make a fucking typo. Black Lucis? That is a theory. I'm personally am leaning a little more towards that it is just another animal on Alternia. Because we have seen from some other examples that fauna on Alternia is not strictly white, and it's the Luci are white, but there are other kind of animals that exist that are not. His Honorable Tyranny comes to mind as a giant beast who is not, decidedly not, white. Yes. Okay. Unusual, but it has been an unusual day. Unusual couple of months, honestly. Yes, of course. You've had it much harder than I have. What was I thinking? Well, you weren't trying to get into a contest of whose life sucks more, but yeah, it's been rough. You appreciate that she can see that. Of all the planets to be forced to, Alternia is, well, not ideal. Not the worst, but you still have my sympathies. Is there anything at all you like about it? What, about Alternia? Well, oh my god, so many typos in this route. Well, you're kind of digging this whole night as day thing. You're from a diurnal species, but you've always been a bit of a night owl. Also, not to brag, but you've made some seriously cool friends. Yes, I've been following your exploits. Your friendship acquisition procedures are really quite impressive. Aw, now you're blushing. You ask Boldir how she knows that much about your exploits, because it's only pretty recently that you've had any sort of real social media presence. You suppose she could have a Gorgle alert like Malik did, but... Quick, around here. Boldir leads you into a deserted lot between two buildings. There's nothing here except some broken bottles and a pile of old rubber tires. She leaves you behind the tire pile to keep watch, although she is probably just doing it to get you out of the way, which, fair. And then she heads out into the center of the lot, presumably to wait for her contact. I'm missing the context for the Clara Oswald comment. Let me just Google that. If that's fucking Doctor Who, I swear on my fucking life. Of course it's fucking Doctor Who. Okay, not ideal. Yes, very not ideal. And autocorrect? Yeah, but like, I don't know. You'd think that someone would read these over before they put them up. But anyway. You sit here twiddling your thumbs, trying to suppress the desire to pull out your phone. That doesn't seem very covert ops. You're just starting to get really antsy, jittering your leg and cracking your knuckles and digging a little hole in the dirt with a stick, when you hear something strange beneath the wind. A swish followed by a thunk. Boldir jerks and clutches her neck. You writhe up from the rubber pile, sending tires flying. You look wildly up at the surrounding buildings, trying to find out where the projectile came from. You don't see anyone, not even a lone gunman. You run for your new friend, not spending a thought for your own safety. The clouds move overhead like someone has put them on fast forward, the wind rattling the trash on the pavement. By the time you reach Boulder, she has begun to twitch in hard spasms. One look at the blotchy stain spreading across her neck and there's no doubt. You both say it at the same time. Poison. You fall to your knees beside her. Oh God, what are you supposed to do? You don't know anything about poison or first aid or anything else useful. God, why are you such a fucking waste of space? You could have been gaining some life skills instead of just loping around like a complete idiot. Stop. Don't. There isn't time. This stuff acts fast. Boulder takes hard, gasping breaths between each word. Her eyes are going cloudy. She makes a desperate grab for your hands. Listen. For the first time, her voice rises above a whisper. Her grip is surprisingly strong. You tell her to save her strength, but she shakes her head so hard her hat falls off. I'm not important. You tell her to stop being dramatic. Of course she's important. I'm not being dramatic. Well, maybe a little because I'm dying. But still, remember what I said about fate. Fuck fate. You don't want anything to do with it if this is the kind of shit it's going to pull on you. So many of your friends have died because of you, because of your incredible inability to... The world twists and stutters. Your guts are a record, and that record is skipping. For a moment, you're sure that whoever that poison-shooting bastard is has shot you too, but then your vision clears and you feel the rain on the back of your neck, the world rolling back to you in waves of color and sound. The dark sky splits open on a fault line of lightning. Boulder's hand goes limp in your own. With shaking fingers, you reach out to touch her motionless cheek. Fuck. Fuck! Not again. Why? An uncontrollable wave of despair washes over you as you look down at the corpse of this girl you barely know. Where are all of these feelings coming from? There's honestly too many of them. Why are they... So, that is definitely the most dramatic troll death of every single one. Usually, if you die or one of the other trolls dies, they don't really give it much detail, but this was a very explicit statement of how the events went down, including that weird gray out, like, shift in reality. I know, right? But wait, there's more. Again? Must I do everything myself? So, there's also that, which... Pardon the fuck? So, there's a lot of theories about who that could be, but the most popular one that The most popular one that I have read is that it is Doc Scratch. This is the one that I am the biggest fan of as well. Because we've seen in a couple other spots signs of him being involved in the Hiveswap story, because we already know that he's behind the scenes doing things, because this is the beta universe. This is Alternia, not Bephorus, so he is up there on the Green Moon fucking around with shit. But we see in Hiveswap he acts as the hint system for Joey. It's strongly hinted that he is Tirona's informant, and now there's whatever the fuck that was. Yeah, so there is a lot happening there, and it just, oh my god, such a fucking whirlwind of theories. And like, you know, like, what does this say about MSPA readers' presence on this planet? I've already seen theorized in other places that Doc Scratch was behind their survival, and that Doc Scratch was kind of the agent in the reason why they were able to survive so long without being like immediately culled, right? I believe that, yes, that theory came up in tandem with being Tirona's informant, right? Because, oh, we have a friend in common. If it's Doc Scratch who freed MSPA Reader from jail, then what the fuck investment does Doc Scratch have in this situation? What is MSPA Reader doing that incites something important to his preparing for the arrival of Lord English and preparing the kids to enter the game? So it's more plausible than MSPA Reader being a time player. I mean, yeah, MSPA Reader's class spec is also still up in the air. I'm not as well informed on those sorts of theories. But yeah, that fucking lore, my dudes. Holy shit. Fuck, where was I going with this? I had a point. Yeah, so that's that. And then, of course, this brings in a whole other level to the way that Boldir seems to be. She seems almost aware of Doc Scratch's presence and what he's doing. It's, yeah, like she just... Probably how MSPA Reader got into another dimension hundreds of years in the past. Yeah, precisely, right? Like, that is definitely the most plausible theory for MSPA Reader ending up on fucking Alternia in the first place. Yeah, this volume. There's just a fucking lot going on in this volume. And we're not even done with Boldir. We are not even finished here. We have not even seen the good end yet. So... hopping on that. Okay. Sure, let's do crime. This whole mess started with the theft of a spaceship, and if Boldir is right about all that fate horseshit, that was supposed to happen, so maybe you'll lean into it. Perfect. The first and most important aspect of the art of pickpocketing is staying unobtrusive. You think about mentioning that walking around in a great big coat and a floppy hat is not the most unobtrusive thing you've ever seen, but you aren't the expert here. Also, you're an alien, so you don't really have room to talk. Maybe you should get a big coat like that yourself. You just love ripping looks off all your friends. Boldir takes you through the basics of criminal sleight of hand, and on the whole, you aren't too bad. In fact, you think you might have a future in it if you weren't already on the career path of professional friendshipper. You don't know what this has to do with her learning about you or teaching you your place in Alternia, but it's fun, and Boldir is a good teacher. If there's one thing this journey has taught you, it's that when something isn't actively painful or destructive, just ride it out. You don't think you'll be going around pickpocketing many trolls. Enough of them already want to kill you, but it's good to have the skill on reserve if you ever need cash fast and don't feel like hitting up any of your rich friends. You wonder if Boldir uses it for anything besides passing notes. Psst, my sources tell me that you've been on Alternia for almost 3 periges now. And I don't remember where I read this. It was probably Optimistic Duelist Discord server. That's where I read most of this stuff. Because there's just fantastic discussions on there. But I believe that Periges has finally been linked to roughly the time span of a month. Aleph, can you back me up on that? Because I don't know if I'm remembering that correctly. You have no idea how long a perigee is, but what the hell, sure. Impressive. No wonder. She trails off thoughtfully and shakes her head. You wish she would say something with some substance to it instead of just vague nonsense. But at least she isn't threatening you with violence or trying to stick wires into you, so you're counting this interaction successful so far. Also, you feel weirdly chilled out with Boldir. Sure, you want to be friends, but there's none of that stomach-churning, spine-bending desperation to make sure she likes you at whatever the cost. You feel more awake than you have in weeks. Man, you gotta learn to pickpocket in a garden behind a cafe more often if this is what it does to your stress levels. Want to get something to eat? Or maybe just coffee, because that's what they serve here. Sure, you could use another caffeinated beverage on top of the other caffeinated beverage you had earlier. Why not? You'll sleep when you're dead. If only. This cryptic bullshit just doesn't fucking stop. You sleep when you're dead, and she goes, if only. The fuck is that supposed to mean? Like, does she have some knowledge or connection to Prospit Durst, the Dream Bubbles? Like, what? Ugh. You follow her out of the garden and back into the cafe. Who is this now? Yet another friend? Oh, Ardata, you're still here. Of course I am, fool. You were back there for about 10 minutes. 10 minutes? Wow, it felt like way longer than that. Guess you underestimated the power of a good training montage. You introduce Ardata to Boldir with the cheerful earnestness of someone who has forgotten the systemic classism of a planet on which they currently reside. Ardata stops you with an aristocratic sneer. Stop, before I have to stop you myself. I have absolutely no desire to mix with those so low on the social ladder. What in the world could she have to offer me? You shrug. You're not sure. Maybe friendship? You know friendships between people of different castes are possible. You've seen them happen. Regardless, you feel bad for exposing your newest friend to the vaguely nonsensical abuses of your oldest. The look on her face, oh my god! Really starting to think that she is literally just Callie. Maybe there's a connection there. I don't know. I fucking love the look on her face here. You turn back to Boldir to apologize and find her gazing coolly at Ardata like she could do it all night. There's none of the fear or reverence or false obedience you've seen other lowbloods display to blues. Instead, Boldir looks at Ardata like she's a bug. Worse, a pebble that she would just love to kick out of the way. Psst, nice to meet you in person, Miss Carmia. I hear your GrubTube channel has been losing subscribers recently. I wonder why that is. Woohoo! Going right for the throat. Blue hits Ardata's cheeks in an angry flush. I'm currently on hiatus. The old garbage was getting tired. I have so many imitators that my own content is starting to seem derivative. She gives one of her maniacal laughs, but it's a little less robust than usual. Man, the wild tundra of internet fame really is a stark and arid battleground. In fact, I have a new feature in the works as we speak. She holds up the little vial she's been haggling with the cash register over earlier. Poison. I think the best and most expedient process would just be to dose my featured guest's food and then hide the antidote somewhere in my hive. Unless you have another idea? She smiles, sly and mean. Boldir smiles back, just as vicious. Great. Have fun with that. When Boldir talks, her eyes start flicking from you to Ardata and then down. Again and again. You, Ardata, and down. It takes a couple of go-rounds before you realize what she is telling you. She keeps looking at your hands, which are stuck in your hoodie pocket. Exactly where you found the note Boldir slipped you. Ardata is carrying a bag that looks expensive and extremely goth, and you can see where the vial of poison is sticking out. Oh man, you know what you have to do. When a group comes into the shop and pushes past the three of you, you move in on Ardata and slip a hand into her bag, palming the smooth, cold vial. She gives you a weird look, like, why are you suddenly all up on me, peon? But she doesn't notice the theft. I suppose I'll be going now. And if I were you, I'd be more mindful of who I choose to associate myself with in the future. You say bye to her, feeling the tiniest bit guilty, but she's planning to use this poison to do murder theater in her prison basement, so you don't feel that bad. Nope, not amused. This look as well. So sharp. Oh my god. Take care now. Ardata leaves and Boldir takes an Ardata leaves and Boldir takes an inquisitive step closer. Psst, show me. You open your hand to display the spoils, flushed with criminal euphoria. Oh, hell no! You grabbed the wrong fucking vial! This one is blue, not red. You grabbed the antidote, not the poison. God, you honestly thought you were moving past these kinds of cock-ups. Oh. Damn. Well, at least you have antidote now. You never know when one of those might come in handy. Speaking of... She sways forward and clutches at her neck. For one confused second, you think she's doing an impression of someone who might need an antidote. Then she falls to her knees. You dart forward to catch her before she can totally eat it. She's heavier than she looks, compact muscle and a coat full of an ungodly number of weapons. She has like 4 guns in here, what the hell? Your arms are full so you can only watch, helpless as a troll in a hood that covers their face and their horns books it out the door. You shout that some fucker just stabbed your friend, but nobody here is looking at you. It's the same way people on Earth might ignore a mother trying to calm a toddler throwing a tantrum, just turning their eyes away from a distasteful public scene. Ow. Damn it. You put a hand up to Boldir's neck and try to staunch the bleeding, but there isn't any bleeding. Bewildered, you pull apart the lapels of her coat to see a single drop of olive blood trembling above her collarbone. Discoloration spreads in a dark spill over her neck and radiating down her chest. You both say it at the same time. Poison. You open your hand to look at the tiny blue vial, then back up to Boldir. Her eyes are glassy, her skin going blotchy and ashen. There is no reason to believe that Ardata's poison and the poison the assassin used are the same, with the same antidote. It already strains the power of coincidence that you grabbed the antidote at all. You're probably right, but maybe you should try it anyway? I can't feel my legs. Right. Maybe the mere fact that this is such an unlikely happenstance means that it will be the right antidote. Everything you've done so far has had the pull of inevitability to it, especially all of your interactions with Boldir, which is a very interesting thing to comment on. Great. Awesome. I'm glad you're realizing your inherent significance to this particular microcosm of causation. Now, can you please... Oh my goodness. Can you please pour that stuff in my mouth so I can swallow it and possibly not die? Yes, noticing her... How does she put it? Noticing... Realizing your inherent significance to this particular microcosm of causation. You help Boldir tip her head back and put the vial to her lips. At the last minute, you wonder if it's supposed to be diluted, but Boldir gulps the whole thing down and immediately begins to shake. Smoke billows out of her nostrils and open mouth, and holy shit, what is going on? This doesn't seem like any type of antidote to you. But then the smoke clears, and Boldir opens up her big yellow eyes. How does she feel? Alive. Marginally. She lets you help her to her feet. You immediately pull her into a fierce yet gentle hug. It's wild to undergo someone else's near-death experience. You feel like you know her way better than one montage scene's worth. Another new friend. Ooh, not so tight. You ease up a little. All the tea sippers are staring at you now. Death apparently isn't interesting, but the possibility of some quadrant-adjacent stuff, they are suddenly all about. Sorry, assholes. Just you and your new friend sharing a touching post-near-fatal encounter. Nothing to see here. Didn't die. Whew. So there's, yeah. A lot to unpack with this. A lot. Yeah, so Boldir just... Everything around Boldir just seems like she has some way, somehow, some greater awareness of the things that are happening in this universe. And I am so fucking interested to see where her character goes from here. I would also be interested to see and would love it if she makes at least one more cameo in another Friendsim. And that's my 2 cents. Alright. It is, dang, right on time, 11:57. So, we'll take 5 and then take a look at Stelsa Says Yet. Hi there, folks. We are back at it again. Not at Krispy Kreme. I am in my bedroom. Okay. Of fate, fortune, and fashion. Yes. That is the title of this thing. I feel like you spent the entire stream with her. Yeah. Ready for the end credits after the first run through. Actually, it's very, very interesting that you have that specific comment. That you feel like we spent the whole stream with her and like she expanded time. Because that's exactly the kind of weird experience that she, you know, MSPA reader remarks that she gave them as well. Okay. Next up, Stelsa Says Yet. Okay, so it turns out stealing a car was easily one of your better impulse decisions. You've gotten accustomed to enough of its weird insides by now that the squishiness doesn't much faze you anymore. It still feels like the warm stomach of some giant creature, but you actually find it kind of comforting. You can just let yourself get enveloped by the seat while the autopilot does its thing. Getting ferried through the streets of Alternia with your feet up on the dash sure beats endlessly pounding the pavement. Sometimes you even throw Sarava's stream on your phone if you really want to get a chill vibe going. You're surprised that you haven't been caught yet, dastardly carjacker that you are, but maybe you're just a better thief than you always thought. A possible career change to look into when, or if, you ever get back to Earth. The downside is that it's a little difficult for you to further your goal of gathering even more friendship from inside of a vehicle. So you parked the scuttle buggy and exposed yourself to the menaces of the outside world once more. You're in what looks like some sort of residential neighborhood. It isn't as nice as the blue blood neighborhoods you've seen, but still nice enough for most of the apartment complexes to have imposing locked front gates and security drones. But of course, you can't take a leisurely stroll on Alternia without something terrible happening. You aren't out here for very long before it starts raining. Shit, damn, and fuck. You ditched the umbrella Torona gave you since it was heavy as a goddamn club, and now you're super regretting it. Running for shelter is all you can do, so you make a mad dash for one of the building's awnings, huddling uncomfortably underneath it. The rain doesn't let up. You'll have to move soon. The security drones are beginning to look like they're planning on taking a few shots at you for loitering. You need to make a decision, and fast. Well, since this is our first choice, and we're gonna get a shortest ending out of the way first, it's easy to make that decision, and skedaddle-doo-dah. Run back to the scuttle buggy. It's parked a ways away down the street, but if you run fast enough, you might be able to make it. You abandon the security of the metal awning, launching yourself into the minor apocalypse that is regular Alternian weather. You should have been able to guess how this was going to go. The raindrops are too dense for you to successfully dodge them all, and your delicate human body isn't built to withstand nuclear-ass rain. You probably would have had better luck with the security drones. Well, that didn't work. Womp womp. Disintegrated by acidic rain. Well, that's that. Oh, get down and down we go. Oh my god, look at all these beautiful fucking faces. Just as a side note, this gorgeous row of little troll faces makes me so happy. And this Friday, we get another 2 of Cleanliness and Clownliness. Volume 14 is going to be called Of Cleanliness and Clownliness. So, our theme, Marsty, who is depicted in janitorial role, and one of the clowns. Who the fuck knows which one? But I'm very excited for more clown lore. Okay. Try and get into one of the buildings. There's no way you're getting into any of these without a passcode, but wait! You think you see someone coming your way. Perhaps they'll be your knight in shining armor? So what you're telling me is that my appointment is cancelled. You're still some distance away, but she's looking right at you. You point at yourself questioningly, thinking she might be talking to you, but then you realize she's wearing a Bluetooth headset. Jeremy used to be so on the ball. Jeremy used to be so on the ball. Remember the time he Okay, this is gonna happen a few times because Stelsa's whole thing is that she's just fucking speed talk hammers it out. So I'm gonna try and emulate that as best I can. Jeremy used to be so on the ball. Remember the time he gave me a full prong beautifying procedure right after that high blood ripped his arm off? But now he can't bounce back from one little thresher in the abdominal sausage. What happened to that? What happened? But now he can't bounce back from one little thresher in the abdominal sausage. What happened? That boy is losing his touch. Oh my god. Yeah, remember when he gave me full treatment after his arms ripped off? Now he gets stabbed in the gut and he just can't do it? Oh, what is wrong with him? Oh my goodness, just that whole... Wow. Yes, Jeremy. Of all the fucking names. Looks like she's coming back from a jog, if the running shorts are anything to go by. If she's at all bothered by the acid glancing off her skin, sending dozens of little firecracker sparks in their wake, she isn't showing it. She seems much more preoccupied by the harried conversation she's having on the phone. Most importantly, she's power walking to the entrance of this building, which must mean she lives here. This is your chance. You shuffle along under the awning, pressing yourself close to the side of the building, bug-like. You sort of wish she'd encountered you earlier when you were dodging rain like a rad action hero. Now you just look sort of cowardly and pathetic. Especially compared to her. She's striding along like absolutely nothing is gonna get in the way of whatever business she's got going on, let alone a few paltry explosions. Actually, she's so focused on her call that she doesn't notice you until you're standing right next to her. Such an inconvenience. You can fully expect that I will be taking my business elsewhere from now on. Oh my, what do we have here? She transitions from hanging up the call to talking to you so quickly that it makes your head spin. Take this down. Strange little hornless creature parked in front of home, very puny and scared looking. Can only be the alien everyone has been talking about. Such an opportunity can't go to waste now, can it? You're confused again, looking around to see who she might be talking to, but there's nobody else here. Maybe she's dictating notes to her phone? Look at you, we can't have you wandering around outside like this, darling, can we? Aren't you ravishing? Do give me the name of your stylist. So good to meet you. Here's my card. The name Stelsa says yet. Audit terrorizer in training for the Alternian Empire. Nice to meet you. Let's walk and talk. You didn't realize that borrowed hoodie was that impressive of a look, but okay. She produces a business card with one hand and inputs some numbers into a panel with the other. You take the card. It's a struggle to process what she's saying, respond to her question, and introduce yourself, all while experiencing the verbal equivalent of getting hit by a truck. You love her? I know! She's fun. Ranty vibes? Oh yes, she is. She's a real sweetie. How is it possible to talk so fast without taking a breath? You can barely get a word in edgewise. Stelsa continues chattering away as she steps inside and waves for you to follow her into the apartment building's elevator. You do. So do tell me, do you run any business on your planet? If you do, I would be more than happy to offer my services. They are very efficient and affordable, I can assure you. All your legal and financial documents will be checked over in no time. I'll make sure everything is running at tip-top shape. I'm so happy to have run into you. Ever since Zizi told me she met you, I've been asking her to introduce me. It's so very important for a professional to continue growing her network, especially intergalactically. Don't you agree? Zizi! It's Tysius! Oh my god. She's still busying herself with her phone while talking to you, texting on its tiny keyboard now. The name Zizi doesn't ring any bells. You flip through the Rolodex in your brain, trying to remember. Have you really made so many friends that you're beginning to forget their names? You're a little impressed with yourself. It feels like only yesterday that you were crawling around in the basement of a murderess and getting stabbed in the shin with a screwdriver, just a single friend to your name. Good times. You've come so far since then. It brings a single sentimental tear to your eye. Wait. Stelsa's own name finally starts to register. You've heard it before. This is Tysius's mate Sprit, so she must be talking about Tysius. Murderess is stabbing. Very fascinating stuff, I'm sure. Yes, I'm referring to my darling Tysius, of course. You're at the door to her hive. She unlocks it, letting you both in. Alright, so there is a lot happening. Sorry, I forgot to pull up my translations for this. So there's a lot happening here. There's a number of different references that are occurring in this space. And let me find my translations. Okay. So the filing system in the back, all of the labels are just like alphabetical order kind of labels. So I won't bother telling you exactly what letters go with what, but the text overlay will be on there in the YouTube video. The poster on the right hand wall. So there's two. The poster with the sun says sunrise, and underneath the text that is visible says shades ban. Not really much to go off of there, but the poster with the little wiggler says tenacity. Give up already, low bloods. So that's that. And the books are mostly scribbles, except for on the shelf up from the weights. In the dead center, there's a pink book with green text that literally has book written in English. Just plain old English. So that's all for translations here. There's not a lot really happening. None of those posters are translatable, but it is interesting to know. I'll make some more comments on the room itself later, because MSPA Reader does their own kind of analysis of the things that are happening in this room, and then I'll make my additions after that. Come in. Welcome to Shiz. Make yourself at home. Can I get you anything? Water, grub cake, my rate sheets? I would love to continue our chat while I am a little less sweaty, and also acid wreaks absolute havoc on the skin. You know how it is. I'll just jump in the ablution trap for a minute. Please excuse me. Won't be long back at 2 shakes of a quack beast's gastric evacuation pillow. And off she goes. Actually, you wouldn't know how it is, considering that a bucket load of acid falling on you would leave you either very injured or very dead. And she's already gone. You're a little relieved. It's not that Stelsa isn't friendly. She's plenty friendly. She's just approaches friendship in a way that makes you feel a little like a line on her to-do list that she's in a hurry to check off. Or, well, she seems like she wants you as some sort of work contact, not a friend, but that's okay. You've worn many hats in the pursuit of friendship. Clown cultist, impromptu shoosh papper, murder accomplice. Business associate is one of the tamer ones on the list. Now that you no longer have to keep up with her mile-a-minute conversation, you can take a proper look around her hive. You're not sure what's more perturbing, the sheer amount of pink that's accosting your eyeballs, or the fact that everything is so painstakingly organized that it's making you a little uncomfortable. It's like you merely standing here is disrupting the careful order of the room. Her shelves are crammed full of books, all neatly arranged according to topic, with each topic displayed on a little label on each shelf. She also has a lot of posters featuring motivational slogans underneath striking nature photography. The only normal-looking spot in the hive is a coffee table with a mishmash of personal belongings piled on top of it. Books, papers, a jacket. You think that might be a mug? None of those items strike you as being particularly Stelsa's style. The overall effect is that of a very pink, very neat office cubicle. You almost feel like you should start chugging mediocre coffee and complaining about how much you hate Mondays. So I'll take off the headlines so that you can get a better look around the room. That is MSPA Reader's observations. And yes, indeed, there's a mug on the table, a mug on the floor. Both of those would be Tysius's, as well as a black sweater with Tysius's symbol pin on it. Yeah, those are kind of the most notable things. Although the fire flower from Mario that is on the very right hand side of the pushpin board. Don't know why that's there, but okay. What else about the pushpin board? It seems like there's a calendar somewhere in all of that stuff. There's a handwritten scribbled notes, lots of those. There's a purse hanging up next to the fire flower, and on top of the fire flower there's a key on a necklace. Yeah, and on top, so there's on the left-hand side of the board, there's a poster with a guitar on it, I guess for a music event maybe that they're considering going to. And on the very top, very tippy top, right underneath the Tenacity poster, is a sticky note that is stuck to the, what I can only assume is a corkboard, with a knife. Just a fucking knife. So, there's that. Oh dear. Well, glad you're back. We're just getting caught up with Stelsa. She's back from her shower. So sorry to have kept you waiting. Stelsa reemerges, her hair wrapped in a towel. Well, it's been a blast getting to know you. We should get lunch sometime. Keep the conversation going. I'll pencil you in, darling. But for now, I have a bit of a dilemma to deal with. That sounds worryingly like a dismissal. You sneak a glance at the schedule on her bulletin board. It's a blaze of color with barely any free slots. You don't want to be penciled in. You have no idea when she might be available next, and you need her sweet, sweet friendship now. Maybe whatever problem she has is something you could help with? Unless you're a ludicrously talented beautician, I think not. My usual place bumped me off their list, and right before a very important meeting, too. A girl has to look her best for these things to really knock her socks off. If I want to make arrangements at another salon, I shall have to move fast. No time to waste. Whew. Okay, so this is not the final choice. This is not the final choice in this round. So, as it is not the final choice, we'll knock that shorter end out of the park and then come back for the last two options. So, why not use the extra time to do more prep for the meeting? That is an excellent idea! I visited this potential client's establishment a wipe ago, but it was a quick one. I could do well to cast my gander bulbs around the place properly. It's pretty much in the bag, but this meeting is the clincher and there's no way I can flub it. Having Ramel and the Mac as a client would be too good of a cluckbeast plume in my what the? Oh my god, all that fucking too good of a cluckbeast plume in my pan lid to chuck the opportunity in the low gaper. Okay. Trying again. Having Ramel and the Mac as a client would be too good of a cluckbeast plume in the pan lid for me to chuck the opportunity in the low gaper. Ramel? You totally know her. How about that? Yes, I would hope you did, darling. She's only been splashed all over the papers lately with that stunt of hers. Buying out her competitor like that, I've never heard the likes of it before. She's flitting around her hive as she speaks, nipping into what you assume is her bedroom to blow-dry her hair before shuffling some papers into a handbag. You tail her as best you can, feeling a bit like a pet cat underfoot who's threatening to trip her at every turn. Maintaining a career as a successful and relatively Maintaining a career as a successful yet relatively avant-garde artist is very different to assuming the ownership of and managing a museum, and yet she has made it work. Whoa, sounds like Ramel has been busy since the last time you saw her. You clarify that Ramel is a friend of yours, actually. So, Ramel did end up being able to buy out her competitors. Just like she said she would, she proved she was better. Stelsa stops in her tracks. Really? Why didn't you say so in the first place? You should come with me. Getting the 411 or Ramel from a friend of hers could really give me a frond up. What do you say? You're not so sure there's much you can tell Stelsa about Ramel. You're pretty sure Ramel doesn't want an auditor in training, or, well, anyone really, knowing that she's an art thief. But, why not? There has to be some stray info about Ramel knocking around in the old noggin that might come in useful. Marvelous! Come on, you could tell me on the way. She takes your hand and pulls you out the door. You offer Stelsa a ride in your totally not stolen scuttlebuggy. It's still raining, but she shields you both with an umbrella that's almost as big as you are as you walk to where it's parked. You get in, put some tunes on for the road, and head off. Once you're on your way, you admit to Stelsa that most of your and Ramel's conversations just involved her bouncing ideas off you for her webcomic, but you're still happy to answer any questions she might have about Ramel's overall deal. You're expecting her to be disappointed, but her eyes practically light up. What a privilege! To be completely truthful, I am quite the fan. I have been following her webcomic for a while. She admits this kind of sheepishly. Does she think that liking comics is embarrassing? Of course not. Okay, maybe a little. It seems irresponsible to spend time on something as flippant as a comic on the internet when I have so much other business to attend to. Lots of irons in the fire over here. Achievements don't achieve themselves, you know. Maybe, but hobbies and downtime are important, too. You've never felt more rested than after you've let yourself do absolutely nothing but enjoy a good comic. What? She looks at you blankly. You know, rest? Oh, I always make sure to get enough recuperation every day. No concerns to be... Oh, I always make sure to get enough recuperation every day. No concerns there, to be sure. I like the fact that this is like just self-care as a whole is a running theme in the Friend Sims. You know, like, hey, you know, downtime is important. Yet, sleep. Sometimes it's good to step away from your work. What you're talking about is a bit different from getting enough sleep, but you try a different tack. Why is she taking this job with Ramel anyway? Isn't she busy enough with her training? Well, sure, I have that internship with the Alternian government as well, but there can never be enough experience under one's belt. Okay, I'm gonna have some water. You're beginning to see what the problem is. You get the feeling that Stelsa might be a bit of a workaholic. Just vaguely. Has she ever considered... You're so involved in trying to convince Stelsa of the merits of getting her chill on that you don't realize there's anything wrong. Not until Stelsa lets out a screech that almost bursts your eardrums. Fiddlesticks, we can't go this way. There's road work happening here. The scuttlebuggy must be operating with an outdated map. Switch it to manual and turn us around quick. The roadwork Stelsa is referring to is a bridge with a do not enter sign hastily put up. Beyond the sign, the bridge is peppered with enormous holes. Some look big enough for the entire car to fall through easily. What are you waiting for? Hurry! Well, there's one small problem. You can't drive. Oh, fudge nuggets! Stelsa presses a few buttons, switching the controls to manual. You grab the wheel, turning it wildly, your only goal to make sure that you don't drive onto the death bridge. You probably should have paid attention to the steep slope curving away from the road. You both yell as the scuttlebuggy neumes downwards at full tilt. Miraculously, it doesn't tip, but it does slam into a power line, sending the two of you lurching forward. If it wasn't for the unnerving lung-like airbags that inflate in front of you, you would have shot out the front window. Anxiously, you ask if Stelsa is okay. Stelsa doesn't seem too concerned about whether she's injured or not. She's making a futile attempt to push the airbag out of the way so she can get out of the car. There's no way we will make my meeting on time now, and I look an absolute mess. She's right. Her hair, which was all gentle, soft tufts before, is sticking up in all directions, and her glasses have smashed in the collision. Why did I think this was a good idea? I should have just walked. Thanks for nothing. The car might have survived the crash, but if Stelsa's cranky expression is anything to go by, your budding friendship with her wasn't as lucky. Indeed, Sneak Cat. Indeed. Fashion faux pas. Oof. Okay, let's reload here. So, maybe we shouldn't be hitting the road so enthusiastically. Who needs a beautician when you're around? You have absolutely no professional beauty experience, but Sarava did give you that crash course in crafting great looks. Stelsa is probably after a vibe that's a little less moisture wave, but you're sure you can whip something up. You tell her that you'll help her get ready instead, right here in her hive. Ooh, how nice of you! I've never had a house call before. Let's do this. She leads you into the next room, rubbing her hair dry as she goes. There's a raccoon in one corner and a vanity in the other, with an array of poofs, brushes, and other mysterious implements spread out on its surface. Some of them are disturbingly pointy. Oh well, you're sure you'll be able to figure out what they're all for once you start using them. Stelsa takes a seat in the chair in front of the vanity, holding her hands primly in her lap. So, darling, what do you think we should do first? It's all up to you. Not this again. Why are you always making the decisions around here? What you wouldn't give to be able to foist your own life choices off on random people you've just met. It would be refreshing. Okay. Now, I offer this choice to chat as to which route we shall go on. I'm gonna sit back and have a little sip of water, and you folks let me know what you're thinking. Okay. So we have a vote for hair, sorry. It's been quiet on Alf's end for a while. I think she's having some technical difficulties tonight. Speaking of technical difficulties, I'm surprised that anyone has been able to keep up with the fucking stream, because the stream health has been looking like total garbage this whole time. Alright, let's start with that then. Style hair. The first order of business should be drying Stelsa's hair. You pick up a funnel-shaped doohickey that looks like it might be a hairdryer, fumbling around for a button. There isn't one, but you manage to turn it on by giving it a good squeeze. The mouth of the funnel opens up wide, emitting a hot blast of air along with a hoarse animal yell. You think you might actually see teeth inside. Just don't think about it too much. That's the best you can do when it comes to literally any Alternian gadget. Thankfully, the noise soon fades to a low hum. Here, use this. Stelsa passes you a piece of thorny bramble. It looks painful, but when you begin brushing Stelsa's hair, she sighs happily. Interesting being in this position for once. When Tysius is over, I'm usually the one doing this. Oh, that's so cute. You try to imagine Tysius letting someone give her a sweet do. Even when it's her girlfriend in question, you have a hard time picturing it. Stelsa laughs. She has a surprisingly pretty musical laugh. No. My dear Zizi isn't one for involved beauty rituals. She usually doesn't let me do more than just brush it, but it's still relaxing. Sliding the brush through Stelsa's hair is pretty relaxing. You allow yourself to zen out for a moment before shaking yourself out of it, casting around for something to talk about. That's what good hairdressers do, right? Strike up casual conversation? Your eyes fall on an open book sitting on the table. It's the only object there that doesn't have anything to do with hair care or beauty, so it stands out like a sore thumb. Just like the items on the coffee table, it's strewn too haphazardly to look like it belongs to Stelsa. You think you see some of the tabs Tysius was using on the notes for her group project. And if you look even closer, you think you catch the words revolt and history in the page header. Right, as Tysius' maidsprit, Stelsa probably has big plans for dismantling the system from the inside too, after she becomes an auditor. You remark that you think it's really cool what she and Tysius are doing. It might be scary to stick it to the man like that, but someone has to do it. Okay, it's not exactly light conversation, but talking to Tysius about this had been so enlightening, if sad, and you really bonded over it. Maybe you'll be able to bond with Stelsa the same way. But Stelsa only looks confused. Then her eyes flick down to the book, just for a second before she reaches out, smartly snaps it shut, and squirrels it away in one of the drawers. The sound of the drawer slamming makes you jump, and you narrowly avoid pulling Stelsa's hair. I am quite sure I don't know what you're talking about. I am not sticking anything anywhere. Definitely not to any man. And neither is Tysius. She is sitting straight and tense in the chair now, her voice soaring to a high bordering on hysterical pitch. Oh no, she probably doesn't know you're on their side. Tysius might not have told her about your conversation. It's okay, you're not going to tell anyone. You're sworn to secrecy. But Stelsa averts her eyes and a stubborn set to her chin. Again, I have no idea what you're talking about, not a single clue. Tysius and myself are both law-abiding subjects of the Empire. We don't dabble in such foolish things as sympathizing with rebels. What would that possibly accomplish? She wrings her hands distractedly. We do things the way we do on Alternia for a reason, darling. Without the Hema Spectrum and the roles we each need to play, why? The world will be plunged into complete chaos. Can you even imagine? Trolls running around, not knowing which way is up, doing whatever they please. No one to tell them what their place in the world is. She goes from hand-wringing to gesticulating wildly, almost knocking a row of jars off the table, positively frantic at the prospect of societal breakdown. It's better for everyone this way. I truly believe that. You're beginning to realize that you might have put your foot in your mouth. Just a little bit. Stuffed a toe or two in that gob of yours, maybe. She sounds way too earnest for this to be a cover-up. Could it be possible that Stelsa really does side with, what had Tysius called her, the Condus? And that she doesn't know about Tysius' underground research after all? But the book was right there. You're so confused. Talking about this is clearly distressing Stelsa though, so you drop it, focusing on finishing up her hair instead. It's pretty soft now that it's dry. You're not sure you styled it correctly, but she seems pleased. Great work, nice, fantastic, you did an excellent job. You glow at the praise. You'd say thanks, but she's already passing you a bottle of nail polish. She really wants you to go all the way, huh? You twist it open and get to work. You're too focused on not smudging the teal color over the stately points of her claws to talk, but Stelsa breaks the silence. I have a question for you. You nod, sticking your tongue out in concentration. So I have this acquaintance. This is the most tentative you've ever heard her so far. You weren't sure her vocal cords were capable of it. They are in a quadrant with someone who harbors views most would consider subversive, if not outright treasonous. She is obviously talking about herself and Tysius, but you don't want to point that out in case she gets upset again, so you just nod along thoughtfully. She didn't always. The mate spread, I mean. It would blow over at some point. She must just be going through a difficult phase. It will blow over at some point. She must just be going through a difficult phase. But in the meantime, she could get into oh so much trouble. Stelsa's lower lip wobbles like she's about to cry. You chew on the inside of your cheek, trying to figure out what to say. Talking to Tysius very much did not leave you with the impression that it was a phase. It sounded pretty serious. Does Stelsa's friend have any idea that this is going on? She looks at the drawer. So do you. Nope. You resist the urge to massage your temples. No idea at all? Absolutely not. Alright, okay. You can do this. A good first step might be for her friend to face up to the issue. You know, if there's the chance they might have the tiniest inkling about what might be happening, so the two of them can talk about it. Talk about it? Yeah? You're no expert, but open discussion probably helps with relationship problems quite a bit. Plus, you ruminate to yourself, the more you think about it, the less it seems that Tysius leaving her controversial book out like that was an accident. It was right in front of Stelsa's chair, after all. Maybe Tysius wanted Stelsa to see it. You'd slicked the last bit of color onto Stelsa's pinky claw a while ago, but you're both too wrapped up in the conversation to suggest that you move on to something else. She lets the polish dry while the two of you continue to talk. But my friend does not agree with her mate's presentiments. Discussing it would just cause unnecessary friction, wouldn't it? Maybe, but even so, addressing the issue is probably better than pretending it isn't there. Besides, quadrant mates can, coexist regardless of differing beliefs. Right? Yeah, you don't sound convincing even to yourself, but the platitudes seem to comfort Stelsa somewhat. Maybe you're right. Carefully, mindful of her just-dried nails, she wipes away a few tears, much to your horror. Was that the wrong thing to say? But then you notice that she is smiling. I have not spoken about that to anyone before now. Telling you about it was truly a load off my bellow sac cavity. I am certain my friend will be grateful as well, as I shall relay your advice accordingly as soon as I can. You smile back at her weakly. You haven't been able to relate to very much when it comes to Alternian life, but boy can you relate to relationship drama, and trolls sure seem to have plenty of it. You hope everything turns out alright. For her friend. Since her voice is all sniffly and her eyelash is still wet, you retrieve a frilly box of hand tissues and hold it out to her, hoping that will help. She pulls out a few and blows her nose on them with a sad honking noise. I should finish getting ready. She seems reluctant to get up, though. You'd probably be the same, knowing you had to head into a serious business meeting after spilling your heart like that. Experiencing emotions is tiring. Eventually, though, Stelsa musters up enough energy to get to her feet. Much to your surprise, instead of immediately rushing off to complete her next pre-meeting task, she pulls you into a tight hug. Thank you. You're a real friend. And there it is. Not colleague, not potential client, but that wonderful friendship word. Friends forever, with a little diamond. Ah. Yeah, MSP Reader just swoops into that pale zone with a lot of folks. But, yeah, that was a really cute ending and a really interesting discussion. And, oh my goodness, those two poor babies. Stelsa and Tysius, that is a lot of fucking stress to put on a relationship. Alright, last ending. Polish horns. You pick up a velvety piece of cloth, bringing it up to Stelsa's head. There's only one thing this can be for, right? Wait, what are you going to do with that? Polish your horns to an impressive sheen, of course. They'll be positively gleaming by the time you're done with them. She grabs your wrist with one hand before you can do so. She's deceptively strong, holding you in such an ironclad grip that you can't move your arm at all. You'd been low-key admiring her toned arms earlier, but now you know for sure that the rack of hot pink dumbbells in the living room aren't just for show. Instead of looking pleased with what you propose to do, she looks uneasy. Possibly even a little embarrassed. Polish my... You barely get a glimpse of her discomfited expression before she's gracing you with another friendly smile, albeit a bit of a strained one. You know, I think I'm having second thoughts. It's reasonable to expect that an alien like you wouldn't know the first thing about troll grooming habits. My mistake, I should have accounted for such cultural differences. But it's quite alright, I shall figure something else out. Is it just you, or was there a pointed pause before cultural differences? She's getting up again. Wait. What's happening? You thought the two of you were going to bond over a sweet makeover session, but she's pushing you back into the main area of her hive. Pretty forcefully, too. Thank you for offering your help, dear. Very kind of you to make. Thank you for offering your help, dear. So very kind of you, but I'll manage. Great to meet you. Just wonderful. Call me. Take care. Have a nice life. Toodles. Goodbye. She shoots you another lovely yet very clearly fake smile and shoves you out the door. You'll be able to wait out the rain just fine in this hallway, but being sprawled on your ass on Stelsa's welcome mat all by your lonesome just isn't the same as hanging with a new friend. Oh, game over. So, it is indeed true that touching another person's horns is seen as an intimate action. But yeah, so that's oh my god. It's only 12:45. What do you fucking know? Actually finishing in decent time for once. So that is volume 13. Yeah, I guess one other interesting thing to note about Stelsa's character is that it is mentioned on her troll call card. It does say, you know, one of the bullet points is troll Jewish, which doesn't really seem to come up in this route. So maybe we'll see a little more of what that's actually all about in the main game of Hiveswap. Maybe it'll just stay a fun tidbit forever, although I feel like that won't be the case because generally speaking, all of the traits have been relevant for every character so far, I believe. So I am interested to learn a little bit more about how that works. My own theory is basically just that, you know, whereas followers of the Sufferer, you know, troll Jesus, believe him to be like a prophetic or messianic figure, that troll Judaism is just believing that he, you know, he was not any sort of messianic figure. He was just a rebel leader. So that's where I'm thinking that'll go. That's my estimates. Apparently some people have been equating it with her worship of the contents, which just sounds like a really weird fucking pseudo anti-Semitic way to take that. I don't think that's right. I think that's bad. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That it's just that that's kind of a central portion to the belief system. Credits. Andrew Hussey, as always. Ash Balls and City Dominguez. Julian Dominguez, as always. Writers. Stelsa was written by Kieran Miranda, who also wrote Anastasia. Lovely, lovely root. And Boldir was written by, who else would it be? Aisha Ufera. Who, you know, just as usual, has done a fucking stellar job. Character art for this volume was Adrian Garcia. Background art was Phil Gibson, as well as the ending illustrations. UI design, David Turnbull. Music. Okay. So, Boldir's theme, Old Secret, I talked about while we were playing her route, is that song that was originally made for the Hiveswap soundtrack. And Stelsa's theme, okay? Holy fuck. Stelsa's theme. Imagine, if you will, a situation wherein I wrote the bulk of the song at 4 a.m. and then woke up only to discover the monstrosity I had created in my fleeting reprieve. I forgot to mention something about Stelsa's music, but it is also a bop. So that's the fucking title of that one. I don't even know what else I could add to that. That's fucking brilliant. Okay, game design, UI, mint chip leaf, quality assurance, Sandra Crawford, and then here's all the fair use and licensing stuff. And there you have it. Hiveswap Friendsim Volume 13. Okay. It has lyrics, which, are you referring to Stelsa's song? Oh, fuck, that's true. Yeah, what? Let me see if I can link that in chat. Because, yeah, there's somewhere on his Tumblr. Search Stelsa. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So those are the lyrics. Definitely written at 6 in the morning. It's the 90s, and this is a show about a female troll. She might have kids, or maybe a dog. The premise isn't clear. I like it when songs just tell you what the show's about. She practices the law, she wears a pink coat, and probably does some other shit too. This is the theme to Family Matters, which I guess came out in the 80s. I checked, 1989, but it ran until 98. Oh cool, I finished the song. So I guess if you look up the theme to Family Matters, it should somehow correlate to the melody of this or something like that. So those are the lyrics. Thank you for reminding me about that, Aleph. Radio. I have to get up early tomorrow, so I'm kind of happy that we're finishing on time, if not early. So, yeah, that's all for today. Next week, Volume 14 will be streamed on regular Friendsim Wednesday. Yep, and this weekend, there is no Homestuck stream because I'm staying over at my cousin's house for a few days. So I will not be around to stream. Then next weekend, on the 19th specifically, Friday, October 19th, Homestuck streams will resume. Hooray! So, I suppose for now I will be saying goodbye. I'll be signing off until next Wednesday, and that is October 17th. October 17th. That is the next time we shall speak. Thanks so much for hanging out. I hope you've all had as much fun following along as I have had reading. And, yeah. Have a lovely rest of your days, folks. Good night.